Hi, I'm Chris, and this is what I think is the best way to see the west coast of the USA. Amtrak's Coast Starlight service is its flagship route between Seattle and Los Angeles along the west coast of the USA. It's a trip that I enjoyed enormously and would thoroughly recommend. Trains leave south from Seattle and north from Los Angeles every morning, and they take 2 days, with the overnight part of the journey in either direction being through Northern California. This is the timetable going northwards. You can see the route passes by cities such as San Francisco, Sacramento and Portland. If you want to stop and break the journey, it's quite possible, but it can be quite expensive if you want to travel in your own roomette and do that. I've discussed the differences between ordinary seats, roomettes with beds and larger bedrooms in my video about travelling east to west across the USA. If you're alone and cost isn't an issue, I'd recommend getting a roomette like this. These are designed for 2 people, but the upstairs bunk is cosy to say the least. If there are 2 of you, I would investigate the even more expensive bedrooms that are available. If you're starting from LA, perhaps the best part of the journey happens almost straight away, and that's the journey along the Southern Californian coast. The train runs alongside the beach for several hours, and it's unmissable. Almost everybody on the train just puts down what they're doing and stares out of the window. You really do want a seat or a roomette on the west-facing side of the train for this. Many people have told me that the best way to experience the coast between LA and San Francisco is to drive down the Pacific Coast Highway, and I'm sure they're right. But on holiday, I want to let someone else do the driving, and I couldn't find a coach trip doing that route. So I'd have had to have rented a car. No, I was thrilled that the rail route was so scenic. If you're in any of the sleeping sections of the train, you'll get 3 meals a day. In the restaurant car, you'll be sat with other passengers, which is great fun. I met some super people on the journey, and I thoroughly recommend it. The scenery changes all the time. It doesn't really matter whether you're going north or south, because in both sections you'll have 1 day in Washington State and Oregon and 1 day in Central and Southern California. In both directions it's Northern California, which you don't really get to see as that all passes by while it's dark. In Oregon and Washington State, the scenery is grassland and forest, which is a huge contrast to the ocean. At any time during the journey, if you want a different view, there's an observation car which you can go and visit. The Coast Starlight really is a terrific experience which I'd thoroughly recommend. You can do it very cheaply if you're prepared to sleep in your seat for 1 night, but it's spending a lot more for the sleeping accommodation options on the train that makes it an unforgettable travel experience. Just remember that if top bunks are likely to be an adventure too far, get a roomette for 1 person or a bedroom if there are 2 of you. And to answer the question about whether you can truly travel the entire west coast by train, well, almost. Amtrak has services from LA down to San Diego and from Seattle up over the Canadian border to Vancouver, so you could do all of those. There's also a light rail service from San Diego to nip down to the Mexican border, and there you have it. What are you waiting for? If you found this video interesting, it's one of a series I'm making as I travel from England to the west coast of America and then up to Canada, all without flying or driving. Watch more on my channel, and if you enjoyed it, do give the video a like.